Chris Cody, I'm going to need your help here some. This chair that Zaslow sits in has a way of making people stronger and more confident. And so he just blew a whole bunch of breakfast breath in my face.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
With the take that he had yesterday, which I heard on air, but he's still asking me off air, how is Miami minus 7.5 against the Gators not free money?
What am I missing?
The Hurricanes often hurricane.
This team is different. They look different. What am I missing?
They always do until they don't, you know?
The Gators lost to the team that the Canes just beat by 37.
I worry about Georgia Tech. I don't worry about Florida, because Florida may have something close to the athletes that Miami does, but I don't expect Cristobal to Cristobal in this one, because he didn't Cristobal when they went up to the Gators with what seemed to me a better team the Gators had last year.
But that's not how Cristobaling
One.
works. Like, Cristobaling doesn't work against teams that, like, you tight. It's against teams that you should win easily, that then you're like, oh, how did this happen?
It's inexplicable, not explicable.
Thank you.
Well,
Tony gets it.
Okay, and Tony does get it, and you get it as well, but this isn't the team, program, atmosphere, culture that lost to Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah,
this
no,
is
it
not
never
that.
is.
But this is not. Is it not a team that you're watching through the first two games, and you're like, okay, that is physically strong and fast everywhere. And I'm not looking at a lot of teams and seeing that. And in the first two games, like, I know the Notre Dame game was close, but it should not have been. And that's Cristobaling. But they won anyway. They looked physically stronger and faster than Notre Dame. I'm not wrong there, right? Like, no. The game was, they had a 2-touchdown lead and should have expanded upon it, and then did what they can do. I've told you before, as stunning a result as I've seen was Mario Cristobal with the team he had in Oregon losing a game to Stanford, that I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, I don't understand how this just happened. Stanford at the end of the game didn't have anything.
Cristobal.
Yeah.
That's how it happened, and that's how it will happen at some point.
Are those lines moving at all on the Dolphins and Gators? Are those lines staying the same? It started, the Dolphins were a 12.5-point dog against the Bills tomorrow night, and Miami has stayed a 7.5-point favorite against the Gators.
Didn't it open at 8.5? I think 7.5 is bang on. That's a great line.
For people who want to make money on the Canes.
This is a team that had 5 interceptions at LSU. Should have won that game playing an F- game offensively. They shouldn't have lost to USF. If you watch that game, again, F- effort, undisciplined. They found ways to lose that game. Their defense is talented now. I do know that they have some injuries here, and Lagway, if you look at the tape, looks broken. But this is a rivalry game. It's a smell your own farts week for the University of Miami. Like, this should be tighter.
Not only that, did you see what the money line spread is for the Canes on DraftKings? Minus 305. Dale.
Football is back, Jack. Oh my, we've waited for so long. We're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air, when the chips are down and you throw a prayer, when your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control, and we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back.
over the last 25 years of horrific Dolphin football, the longest playoff drought anywhere in the sport, you have heard me say that the Dolphins went from being a national team to being a regional team. They gave up all of the decades of excellence and now are a regional laughingstock. The Athletic today has a headline: Mike McDaniel was the NFL's next coaching prodigy, then the Dolphins started losing. What is presently around McDaniel isn't around any other coach this early in the season, correct? Because it wasn't that long ago that the Dolphins went to the Bills in a playoff game with their third-string quarterback and almost won the game. And since then, they're 8-14. That's fast how that happened. Because to go from prodigy to Rex Ryan's on television calling you nerd boy as if he's the cool one. Rex Ryan, comfortable calling you nerd boy, creates a visceral reaction around this person that is polarizing and poisoned, because the lack of trust that the fan base right now has in its leadership makes the Dolphins the only loud laughingstock like this early in the season that is surrounded by flying planes, booing, and the expectation that the coach is going to be fired.
We did wonder aloud once Mike McDaniel showed up in a town. And he was a breath of fresh air. You don't necessarily hear head coaches talk like that for a reason, because we wondered aloud, like, well, how does this look if they run into adversity? How does this approach work if they struggle? And I think we now know it doesn't help matters. When he's out there in front of a microphone searching for the words, it gives off bumbling, confused in over your head rather than, wow, what a breath of fresh air.
Step into the microphone and say, today's a great day because we're one step closer to death. What the F does that mean?
Yeah.
It's fine if you're 3-0.
Yeah.
It's funny and refreshing if it's 3-0, but if you're 0-3, it screams this guy should not be leading a football team.
It's also like not that quick of a hook if they get rid of him after this year. Brandon Staley didn't last this long with the Chargers, and he was also viewed as like the next, up and coming genius coach.
4 years is a long time. Like this is year 4.
Yeah.
Long time.
The thing that bothers people a lot, though, you guys have heard me say this before, that in sports, the greatest crime, if you want, outside of real crimes, the greatest optical crime, public relations crime, is thinking that you're better than everyone else or giving off something that seems like unearned arrogance. We don't mind so much when the arrogance is earned. It might bother us, but you'll beat the respect out of us if the arrogance is earned. But Staley and McDaniel suffer from the same thing. It's film room guy who's there for 12 hours doesn't like when new young toddler comes in and thinks he can scheme everyone to death because he's smarter than they are. Charlie Weiss endured this at Notre Dame. He goes from Belichick's side to Notre Dame, and in his first press conference, he says, I have a significant schematic advantage. And then they gave him a giant contract. They might still be paying that. I think it was a giant contract for Charlie Weiss that they paid long after Charlie Weiss was gone, but he got undressed, which is not great when you think of him and his physical features that we've mocked because it looks like the bottom half of his body is turned reverse, and the bottom half of his body, the back of his body is in the front, and the front of his body is in the back in the lower half.
But Staley and McDaniel, they paid their dues. It wasn't like they just were handed jobs. They worked their way up in both their situations. With Staley, it just became a thing where Staley's smarter than everyone. He's the analytics guy. Look at him. He never kicks a field goal. He never punts. He always goes for it on 4th down. And then that didn't work. And then they said, you know what? We have our franchise quarterback. We're kind of wasting him. We have to get rid of him. McDaniel is almost a victim of being too successful too early, right? Had you flipped last season and this season to his first 2 seasons and his first 2 seasons with these two, you'd be like, wow, this guy's figured it out. We should maybe extend this guy. But the reality is he kind of peaked with this team a little bit early. So now everything that he's doing on the back end is a disappointment.
Instead of him figuring it out, it seems like he's been figured out. We've seen this before in the NFL. Guys come into the league, they look good early, and then the league figures them out, and then they got nothing in their bag to respond to.
Well, but I don't believe McDermott actually is any smarter than McDaniel. I just believe he's got a quarterback that the Dolphins don't have, and he's he's made that quarterback someone who no longer turns the ball over. And we're going to get to some Tua sound here that kind of explains why it is the Bills are now the new Patriots of the AFC East. Listen to Tua. This is not something you hear very often as preview to a Thursday night game, Bills-Dolphins.
He's top tier. You know, if it's not with his arm, it's with his legs. You know, that dude can do literally anything he wants. So definitely different skill set for me. I can't do half of what he does when it comes to running the ball and any of that. And then with how he can just chuck a ball down the field, you know, with how far and the arm strength that he has, you know, he's supreme when it comes to that. So it's going to be fun.
It's not going to be fun.
That's embarrassing.
I hate that. I wish they would inject him with lye serum. Honestly.
Some of that stuff Adam Silver's been taking lately.
Oh, my God, that guy.
I am so furious listening to this sound. Honestly, he undersold it. He can't do 3/4 of what Josh Allen does. He undersold it.
He's too comfortable these last 2 weeks telling everyone what he can't do. Like in the postgame press conference the other day, he's like, I can't throw the ball 80 yards. It's like, don't say that. Yeah. This other thing, I'm excited to see Josh Allen. He's so much of a better quarterback than me. I can't do half the stuff he does. It's like, don't say that. Like, this isn't the swans
what do you
on
want
your
him to
career.
say? What do you want him
Not
to say?
that. I want him to lie. I want him
And
to
say what?
lie.
I'm better than Josh Allen?
Anything but what he's saying. Like, he's talking like a veteran who's 43 years old on his way out of the league, and he's like, I can't keep up with these young guys. It's like, buddy, we just gave you like a $250 million contract.
Yeah, you know what? It's a
like,
good point.
Figure
That's
it out.
why.
What are you talking about? This is
then-
your 4th season.
And then, he can throw it down the field.
His 6th year.
That's
Whatever it is.
A quarterback should be able to throw it down the field. I hated that sound.
That's a guy that's got $250 million coming to him, and he's like, I don't really care what
Listen,
happens. to
listen,
be
Buster.
honest.
This is how it works in the NFL. That money's fake, okay? You don't have $250 million. There's someone that can do something that goes around over there, and then boom, 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 that money's gone real quick. NFL money is fake as hell. So if he thinks that $250 million is guaranteed, he can just walk around saying, I'm not that good at my job. It's not how it works.
But it says on the contract that a certain amount is guaranteed.
Yeah, that money's guaranteed. The rest of it is not. I'm going to look up guarantees right now, Zaslow.
I know it's a Wild Willie Wednesday, okay, but I did not expect the escalation to go from you calling
Pocket
Tua
watching.
buddy to calling him Buster.
That Buster was for Tony.
After you bought a Tua jersey and you
The frame was more expensive than the jersey. That's the part that I'm regretful of, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Frame's easily $200.
$300.
Whoa.
It was crazy.
You got ripped
And
off.
I told this before. I don't know if you know this. The frame guy asked me, he's like, are you sure you want to frame this jersey?
No.
Yeah. He's like, I heard that they may cut him on Sunday.
He almost rejected business.
Yeah, he almost rejected business because this was right before they signed him to the extension. He's like, I heard they might cut him this week. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, brother, you're the worst businessman I've ever heard.
I mean, it's a Tua jersey. He's a starting quarterback for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And he's, like, what kind of jerseys is he also saying that about? Like, this is a starting quarterback of the Dolphins.
And this is coming off of year 2 where they made the playoffs without him, where it's like, once he's back, we're good. It's that stupid wrestler was going on there telling Dan that his brain was, he's a arrest Mike McDaniel.
I can't stand that guy. Nowinski?
Oh, please.
Can you imagine watching sports with him?
No.
He's sitting there just, oh my God, disorder with their head. Great, let's tweet.
What a drag that guy is. Not even a good wrestler. Probably a worse
terrible.
doctor.
Terrible wrestler.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Most condescending, because I did not have this happening in the first 20 minutes. Buster, buddy, or brother, because you've hit people with the trifecta here over the first 20 minutes of Wild Willie Wednesday. One of the things happening with McDaniel that I wanted to examine with you guys for a second, because I don't – maybe Staley got some of this, but to my recollection, the time that I saw this thing happen the most – when Michael Lewis explained Moneyball and what the A's were doing by sort of gaming the analytics to view the game differently than everyone else, and they were doing it differently at the time, a whole bunch of pot-bellied scouts wandered over, 80 years old, and they're like, what does that guy know that we don't know? I feel the game in my bones. What does that computer say? I don't care about that. People are enjoying what's happening here with the Dolphins, Rex Ryan calling him Nerd Boy, because a football coach is supposed to be the guy who curses a lot and then says, let's go get a snack. And it's just violence and caveman grunting. And when you ask John Gruden about, hey, your math seems wrong on 4th down, and he says, what do those computer guys know about making a call on fourth down? I feel the game in my gut. That's what's happening around this coach. People are enjoying laughing at him because, oh, you didn't actually have any advantages with all your analytics and your scheming.
Can I ask you a question? Why do people still invoke Moneyball? As if like they were any kind of successful. First off, the movie's all about Scott Hatterberg and not one of the greatest pitching staffs in the 21st century. It's like they made a movie about the Wildcat. Same exact level of success. Oh, we found this incredible thing where Ronnie Brown takes a snap and we don't win jack shit with it. Can we stop talking about Moneyball?
Well, I would say that the reason that we talk about it is because, not unlike the Tampa Bay Rays, who have also not won anything, they found a way to compete with less money with the teams that had the $100 and $200 million money advantage.
Right, but can we make a movie about how they got good draft picks and picked good pitchers?
Can we at least agree that it's ridiculous that not once in that movie were Zito, Hudson, or Mulder mentioned?
They had Jason Giambi. They were really bad.
once.
Like, it's not about necessarily winning within the margins. It's about, like, the sport rewards the bad teams with good draft picks, and they draft well.
That's part of it, but I would say that in a salary-capped sport like football, you want to have the management team that knows how to find inefficiencies better than the other management teams. And it's one of the places, if you're going to make the money equal, it's equal. Tua has how much guaranteed? It's 160 what million?
167 million.
So if you're going to make the money equal, and if you can't actually overcome, if you miss on Deshaun Watson, you're done. Like, if you give that kind of guaranteed money, if that's the mistake you make, it's going to set you back for years. We're spending so much time these days talking in football about what guys make and who's the highest paid offensive lineman, et cetera, et cetera. We're doing a lot of money talk. So what we had that excited us with McDaniel when they were scoring 70 points is, oh my God, they figured something out. And then I can make the criticism you just made of Moneyball. What'd they figure out? They got Tyreek Hill. They got the fastest player. Of course they score 70 points in a game and would have broken the record if they, I think McDaniel didn't even go for a field goal late in that game, or they would have broken the record for points in a game.
But that game wasn't even just Tyreek Hill. That was Devon Achan's coming out party. We're like, oh my God, it's more than just Mostert. We have reinforcements. This team is fast and it's young, and there's depth here that they can continue with this offense. If someone goes down, they can keep reloading here.
This is interesting, though, to me, as the Eagles now fight back on, pridefully. Really, you're going to change the rules because we do something that can't be stopped? The Dolphins, as a study, were trying to win the game by scheming and being faster than you, and looked faster. And as soon as it got to the playoffs, we're all like, yeah, fast but soft. And so football's all about, no, we're going to keep hitting you in the mouth, especially now that all the quarterbacks are throwing for 150 yards. It's just, we're going to keep pounding you in the mouth. And who's going to be the champion? The team that tush pushes.
I do feel for Mike McDaniel and this Dolphins regime a little bit in that they've made it to the playoffs twice. They had Skylar Thompson in there. This isn't exactly what the whole franchise was built on.
Almost won that game with Skylar Thompson.
Right.
At Buffalo.
I know. Look, we're a speed team. We're going to put up points. We're more finesse. Let's have the coldest playoff game in the history of this franchise. And against the team of the generation in the Kansas City Chiefs. It is a little bit of tough luck.
But where are we now? It doesn't end at that point. Yeah, they were unlucky with all the injuries and the weather, and they're playing the Super Bowl champions and the Chiefs. Okay, let's keep it moving.
But
and then last year was last year. Now this year, it's this downward trajectory. Whatever. So they made the playoffs the first 2 years. Who cares? Let's keep moving here. And look at them. They're embarrassing.
But it wasn't just bad luck, because they had those seasons came down to loss to the Titans. Last
it's
season,
all our fault.
Last season
that
they
Monday night
missed
game.
the playoffs because they lost to the
That was the
Titans
beginning of the
early in the week.
That's
And
our
the-
fault.
Dan,
We did a watch
squinted
along.
that day.
The season before, they lost to the Titans on Monday Night Football when they had control of the division.
Yep.
So
They were up 3 games with 5 to play, and somehow they still did
Our
not win
fault.
the division.
Lost to the Titans.
2 years in a row. Last year, they missed the playoffs by a game, and they lost to the Titans week 3 or week 4.
And the Monday night one were ahead by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
3 minutes left, not just the fourth quarter.
Well, that is, you could point to that as ground
Will
zero.
Levis.
He does that to everyone.
If you squinted that night, Dan.
You.
That game is where the descent started, and it happened pretty quickly. I do want to, before we get to UM and UF, though, just examine the glee around the downfall. Because when Rex Ryan is on television calling you nerd boy, that is not a level of disrespect. Like, he's talkative and he's outspoken. That's not a level of disrespect that he ever gives another head coach.
When he wants the job, he kind of goes after them. He's done this before.
He was pretty hard on Brandon Staley.
When he sees a job that he might get, he goes after them.
He's pretty good at speaking to, and I think Billy was right in invoking Brandon Staley, because it's an affront to not just football people, but you watching at home. Brandon Staley literally cost his team a playoff opportunity because he thought he was smarter than everybody else, and everyone's just applying conventional wisdom. So I do think that people do relish in these people struggling because they gave off, I'm smarter than you.
The other thing, too, is some guys are just built to be coordinators, right? Staley, B-Flow. Maybe Mike McDaniel's not a CEO, head of the company kind of guy.
Spagnuolo, not
right.
a head coach,
Look at
amazing coordinator.
all of the guys that are
You
there
know
that
why
are
I don't-
Wade
great
Phillips is like the
coordinators.
all-time guy.
You know,
right?
you know why I don't agree with that is because I remember when Belichick was only a coordinator. Everyone said that about Belichick. Didn't have what it took. No,
They were
but-
right.
They were right.
I think they're right.
He got Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think they're right.
And look at him without him.
Do you watch that game against TCU?
I would argue that very often we make these assessments over here, and the sport hasn't quite been taken over by all of the schemers and analytics guys. But you're not going to convince me that Sirianni is a great deal smarter than the other people he's coaching against, and certainly not Andy Reid. You're just not going to convince me of it. You're going to tell me that Sirianni's head coaching material, and I'm going to be like, okay, if you say so. But that seems like an ideal guy given his initial press conferences. Like, you're doing it because they win. You're not doing it because you can make the assessment. Like, I can say this, Mike Martz was that. Mike Martz was that. Only offense, only coordinator, and didn't end up winning in the Super Bowl. But come on. Like, you guys can't make that assessment from your couch because you don't like the personality of somebody. You can't do it. Like, you could do it. You're going to do it based on the results. You can't do it accurately. When I remember Belichick, everyone said when Belichick was hired by the Jets and then resigned on a napkin, that guy's not a guy who can be running your franchise. Like, that's somebody who's very good at coaching defense, and that's what he's going to do. And then you guys told me that Charlie Weiss is just a coordinator and Matt Patricia is just a coordinator. And, yeah, they were just coordinators, but before that they learned from the guy who was just a coordinator until he won, how many championships? 7? How many did he win?
6.
6, sorry.
As head coach.
What is the percentage point of head coaches that get to say, hey, good run. You were great. You were awesome. You can have this job as long as you like. It's a transient position. This is the life cycle of head coaches, about 4 years. Yeah. And where you get frustrated because someone else in your division is beating your ass because they have better players than you, and you think that, well, let's clean house. That'll be the way. When really you need to strike on a quarterback, and Dolphins fans thought that they did, but he couldn't take the hits in the league.
Okay, but we didn't imagine, all right, when Mostert was scoring 18 touchdowns and we knew that wasn't an 18-touchdown player, that was Mostert's ability. That's none of us were doing that. We're like, that's a really fast player. But
you weren't doing like this offensive scheme dating back to Mike Shanahan has gotten Mike Anderson and
we were giving the coach the credit for Mostert being what he was.
Mostert was a jag. Yeah, like it's a scheme. It's a scheme, which made the first year so confusing because the running game wasn't what Mostert did it, and he showed you versatility. I can do it either way. Hey, third year, tight ends are a thing now.
The thing about him, McDaniel, acting, quote-unquote acting like he's smarter than everyone else is we wouldn't sound howling with laughing betrayal right now if all of us hadn't believed it. Like, that was something we were believing when they were scoring 70.
I out of the 3 key pieces here, let's throw Tyreek Hill in there. We all know Tyreek Hill is a problem. Super talented
it's 4
player.
Key pieces.
Yeah.
It's the quarterback, too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The only reason we all thought Tua was any good was because the stats that he put up in Mike McDaniel's offense. Yeah. The only time you've ever seen Tua be good and had belief in Tua was with Mike McDaniel.
Well, no, in college, like he was under Nick
very
Saban,
true.
Everyone believed in him. And then
fair enough.
when
I'm
he
talking
came
about
here,
the pros.
like he came to Brian Flores, who did not want him to succeed.
Yeah, I'm talking about the pros though. I mean, I've seen him do it with Tua, so I'm more inclined to believe Tua is an issue than Mike McDaniel.
I think, look, it's an easy answer. I think they're both issues because Mike McDaniel's job when he got here, he had 2 jobs, all right, when he first got here. The first job was, can you show us if Tua can play quarterback? That was his first job, and he succeeded at that. All right. Once we found that part out, okay, step 2 of your job is, can you actually coach the entire team now? And what we're learning is, not sure. Not sure if you can coach the entire team. And the Tua part, he did his job there, except based on what I'm seeing, I think Tua's broken. I don't think he's the quarterback he was 3 years ago.
He also had no success without Tua. Like, every time Tua's been out, he has not won those games. So I don't think that we can just say that Mike McDaniel's great at his job and Tua's holding him back.
I think the other thing, too, is he runs a tough scheme, right? Didn't Tyreek Hill say, I just learned the scheme like this year? It's been 3 years. Possibly. But again, as you're a quarterback coming in, you're Snoop Huntley being like, all right, I have to learn this super complicated scheme in a week. Let me figure it out. Like, it's really tough.
This stuff happens very quickly, where you go from genius to Rex Ryan calling you Mick Genius and Nerd Boy. It happens so quickly that I know people are going to listen to this Dabo Swinney sound and they're going to hear the arrogance of what it is that Dabo Swinney does. But I'm going to play that sound for you so that you guys hear him remind you of what he is and what Clemson's been, because you start with a loss, you start with a couple of losses if you're Clemson, and you see how quickly the whole thing evaporates on you. You create the expectations. You guys have heard me say this before. I cannot imagine what it's like to be Vrabel in New England, because you create such unreasonable expectations that an entire generation of people forgets that the Patriots were bad for 40 years before that. They were terrible for 40 years before that, and it was a miracle that they made the Super Bowl and then got slaughtered with Steve Grogan at quarterback, and then everyone just gets real forgetful, and it's not just decades over which they get forgetful. They get forgetful the first 2 games of a season in college football.
But certainly, it's easier to be Mike Vrabel than it was to be Gerard Mayo.
Yeah.
Correct.
He's the savior that's going to come in and get them right back on track.
I think.
Wait, by the way, they were on track at the end of the Belichick.
All right, make it
era.
Alabama then. Don't make it the Patriots if you don't want to make it the Patriots.
Don't take these jobs. Don't follow the legend. Just don't take these jobs. Look what happened to Muschamp in Florida. Makes it to an SEC championship game, recruits at a top 10 level, out of here. In fact, they fired 3 coaches, each of them with an improving winning percentage, just because I read that Billy Napier has to win his 28 next games to match Dan Mullen's winning percentage. Jesus. Just don't follow the legends.
I mean, if you're Kalen DeBoer, though, it's hard to say no to 8 years, $87 million.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take the ego hit because maybe it works, but if it doesn't, you're good.
Got a house in the Keys.
There are also examples in college football
Life's definitely
where
happening.
guys keep the machine going, because Larry Coker and Ryan Day would laugh right in my face saying, we can follow the legends.
Yeah. Ryan Day's been great.
Larry Coker,
Not great.
perfect, just a coordinator.
Sweet man.
But one more at the beginning of his career than any coach in college football history, but only a coordinator. Used up all of the Butch Davis talent and couldn't get another job after that, but did almost win 2 consecutive championships, if not for Terry Porter, that cheating bum that needs to be interviewed by the assembled media and
When's Pablo going to get on that?
grilled.
Larry Coker also tried to rebuild UTSA afterwards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, built it from the ground up.
Yeah.
I
Hall of
love that
Famer.
sweet man. Don't nobody dare say
He
anything
went to
bad
my
about
church.
him. I love him. He's a sweet man.
He seems like a really nice guy.
Was. No, he's not Greek Orthodox. I went to University Baptist Church when I was in high school.
You didn't kill. That's not a $50 fine, is
No.
it?
I'm just saying was in the past tense from when I shook his hand.
No,
said,
he
"Peace be with
recently
you."
embraced the devil.
Yes,
He's
that's
still
right, Ghost.
He's still a nice guy. I think Larry Coker did not. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Has Larry Coker recently embraced the devil? I don't know why Billy did that.
Don't
Well,
do this.
because you
He is
said
a
he
sweet
used to
man.
be.
Come on, don't
He's
do
a
that.
sweet
Whatever.
Christian man.
Come on.
I was
He's a
trying to
sweet
cover
Christian
for
man.
Mike because he's
Amen.
not dead. So when you said he used to be, how did he used to be? Did he die? No, he didn't die. He just, embraced the devil. He's no longer Greek Orthodox.
Coordinator Brian Flores, maybe coordinator juice.
Listen, I'm going to come right out and say it. I don't know that for a fact. In fact, I may have invented that just for entertainment purposes. I don't know his stance on the devil. Probably anti-devil.
Very
if I were to
anti-devil
guess.
from my limited engagements with the man.
Now,
That's
if,
not like
if
him.
we're pro-devil, like whatever, that's you. No judgment here. But I don't think that's.
I would judge someone who's pro-devil.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Put that on me. I'll judge the hell out of you if you're pro-devil.
Why is that?
Because the devil sucks, man.
How do you know?
Believe me, I know.
Have you ever met anyone that you're like, you know what? I heard really bad things about this person. They're not that bad.
Look, I know it's Wild Billy Wednesday. You're going to start this shit here? You're going to defend the devil?
No, I'm not defending the devil. I'm just saying I don't know the devil personally. So I don't want to judge or judge others that may have a more intimate relationship with the devil.
He's already been judged.
You don't want to judge the devil? I feel like that's an okay one to judge, even if you want to be non-judgmental.
It's a slippery slope.
I don't think that's
It's
a slippery slope.
You start with the devil.
Condemned, guys.
You start with the devil, and then I'm out there, and someone's telling me, hey, Fatso, why are you eating that French toast today? And I'm like, whoa.
That slope is so dry, it's not slippery.
It's on fire, too. There's fire all around
Lava,
it.
though. Lava's slippery until it dries.
Since 2011, okay, Clemson has had double-digit wins every season but one since 2011. So this is why Dabo's mad when people yell at him about losing to a very well-coached Georgia Tech team.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last. Always has been. Always will be. And I would just say if you give up on us if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And, hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm going to go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all going to have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
Is there a profession on earth that talks more highly of themselves than the college football head coach?
It's kind of right, though.
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. He did that at Clemson. He beat Nick Saban's Alabama when they were absolutely rolling. He had the season last year that Clemson fans were pining for 3 decades. He is absolutely right. I remember what they were saying last year, and they ended up winning the ACC and playing admirably well at Texas in the college football playoff. He's absolutely right. That guy can stay in charge at Clemson as long as he wants.
There's a generation of people who do not know that Clemson used to have a verb, Clemsoning, that was super negative, that the team was going to collapse under every circumstance. That has been eliminated since 2011. They do nothing but double-digit wins since 2011.
Beat Nick Saban's Alabama twice.
Yeah.
With Deshaun Watson and a true freshman, Trevor Lawrence.
And
both
Hunter
of which
Renfrow.
are ass in the pros right now. Ass!
That is important to point out. He won with 2 terrible quarterbacks.
Well,
Great college great
Pro
What?
NFL quarterback.
number 1 draft
Terrible.
picks.
That's why I said right now. But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence was a true freshman.
Those are not terrible quarterbacks.
Those are great
terrible.
college
It was-
quarterbacks.
Trevor Lawrence has never looked better than he did with Dabo as a freshman. Never looked better.
I've been doing this too long if we're going to take number 1 draft picks and say that they're terrible
Terrible.
college quarterbacks.
Have you not watched Trevor Lawrence?
They're ass right now. They're ass right now. Dabo absolutely should get a lifetime contract from that. Go ahead. Let that get away. Alabama will be the first phone call that he gets. And with that support system, he'll get that train moving again.
I think if Trevor Lawrence went back to Clemson today, he would light up college football.
That's true. When you say their ass, I believe that the ass gets a bad rap here. I believe that the ass is a very functional thing.
There's some good ass.
There's a lot of
Down
good
the
ass.
club.
They're the badass. You want to fight me on Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson being ass presently? They are ass.
I am fighting you on ass as an insult. The ass is necessary. There are many fine asses, and the way that you guys are describing this right now, and trust me, I had Jacksonville on the money line Sunday. So when he dropped back to pass,
brother.
what I saw was a body with an ass on top with a face mask. There was an ass on his
He was
head.
wearing number 7, Dan. That's what he was wearing. Let me not get started.
Mike Williams is out of the league now. He's retired. Christian Wilkins, ass. I'm just saying. Those Alabama teams that they beat, they got guys still in the league.
We could be talking about a donkey, a mule, that type of ass.
Not all ass is bad. I'm telling you, there's a lot of ass on my algorithm, and it ain't that bad.
He works hard.
Christian Wilkins is injured and then released from his team because of
Something weird.
something that we don't exactly know.
He was expendable.
Where is he now? Did he resign anywhere?
Nowhere. I think he's still recovering from whatever his injury was.
He kissed someone on the head. That's what allegedly happened.
Conflicting
That we know.
reports.
Okay.
And other people have gone at like, oh, you're softening your reporting. That's not actually what happened. And it was a whole thing. And then the game started, and we're like, we don't give a shit anymore.
Justin Tucker anywhere? Is someone going to sign Justin
Yeah,
Tucker when they get into a panicked situation? Justin Tucker.
I don't know if anybody's kicking situation is going to be that desperate. I'm pretty sure Justin Tucker is done.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked.
I got ball sacked not too long ago where I'm like, the Browns signed him. And then that's why I remember. I was like, yeah, I was like, no, that was fake.
Is that the verb you want to
remember.
use with Justin Tucker, that you got ball sacked without any context? I think that
Without
might
any context, no one would know what that meant.
Precisely.
With the context is why it becomes bad.
You're the problem.
You made this bad.
UM and UF is this weekend, and while they don't play all the time, I'm old enough to remember when that was the University of Miami's biggest game and biggest rival, that there was no rival bigger than Florida. I think some of that has dissipated, right? Because the games were against Florida State, and Miami doesn't hate Florida State. Bobby Bowden's part of the reason for that. But when you think of rivalries with Miami, Notre Dame goes to a higher level than Florida because all those games in the past were always for the championship. But Florida-Miami is still – I thought that that's why the point spread is where it is, honestly, because people are just giving – the money is giving respect to the idea that teams that don't like each other and have rivalry games, that those games are often very close or closer than you expect them to be.
I think the sports books are just trying to help boost the economy because that's free money.
I think it's a perfect line. Florida showed last year that when their backs are up against the wall, they play hard for their head coach. To me, this is my most hated rival. I know it's not, the feeling's not mutual. Florida, even though they would readily admit that they hate Miami, they'd consider Georgia their biggest rival. I got at Florida State, Notre Dame, and then like the Virginia Techs of the world. But I think that Florida's defense.
The Canes are probably fourth on Georgia's list. Georgia on Florida's list. They would have Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State,
LSU,
but only
LSU.
because they stopped playing.
They stopped playing, and this was absolutely Florida's choice to stop playing Miami. Miami would absolutely play Florida every year if they could, and it dates back to the Gator flop. It dates back to recruiting battles over the last 5 years or so. The fiercest battles between these two teams have been on the recruiting trail.
But why have they been so readily willing over, really like the last 10 plus years, 15 even, to start playing again?
I mean, these were scheduled years ago when Florida had their program running and Miami was desperate to get back to that level. And it's a big-time moneymaker. I think we'll go several years again without seeing these two teams play. But
is this the last one scheduled?
Yeah, last one scheduled, I believe.
This is the big rivalry for you guys are talking about from the fans' perspective. From the players, though, a lot of these kids grew up together. I would argue Miami, Florida, the players think this is the biggest rivalry.
Most of the players on this field had a decision to make. Do I go to Florida or do I go to Miami? And they picked their sides.
The way that Florida played, you said they could have won that game, and they could have, and it's hard to win a game when your quarterback is throwing 5 interceptions. I don't know how many there have been in history where your quarterback is throwing 5 interceptions.
Usually get taken out after 4.
Yeah, or you're Jared Goff.
I have not seen quarterback play that was quite that catastrophic this year. 5, and they were all these throws. What you saw on almost all of the throws was, ooh, he's lobbing it in there super soft, and he's just giving a lot of time for that. He doesn't have the arm strength. Langway thinks he's got a stronger arm than he does trying to make those throws against the secondary that can move.
I'm a Lagway believer. In watching that game live, I haven't done a rewatch, but I do know people that do break down film, and they say this guy is broken. But you can tell he entered fall camp. We all know about the shoulder injury, but then he got a calf strain, and you can see in his throws he is not using his lower body to throw these balls, and that's why they don't look the same way. And also, I think that it played a role in his conditioning. DJ Lagway's a big dude. He's like 250 pounds. He's a big guy and doesn't look particularly in shape.
You saw the
right
interceptions, though, right? Like the way he's throwing the ball to places where it's a bad throw, bad decision, thrown too softly.
Yeah.
And he's telegraphing it in a way that's giving the corners and safety plenty of time to size it up. And LSU wasn't making great plays to make those interceptions.
No. In fact, I watching that game, I'm like, I think Brian Kelly is maybe not the first question, but is your offense ass also? It's a very reasonable question.
I wish someone opened Brian Kelly's next press conference by trying to provoke him. Why is your offense so ass? Excuse me, Brian.
We just need one run to not be ass. Did you not see it?
I already told you. There's a lot of ass out there that's good, my algorithm.
Okay, you've mentioned this before. I thought it was boobs. I thought your algorithm was boobs.
There's a lot out there on the algorithm. I don't discriminate.
The wall and loses a tire after just 2 laps. At the restart, Sergio Perez has a lead with 5 laps left. It's time to go. Checo wins the sprint race, but Max and George have bad blood when the race ends. You guys see what I'm doing yet? Will there be vigilante shit on Sunday? Max,
is amazing.
You need to calm down because it's lights out and away we go in Baku. Sparks fly, and Verstappen is driving like he's in a getaway car and pulls out into the lead. Long story short, Nick DeVries has a glitch and a safety car ensues. Perez is in the lead after a slew of pit stops, but he's not out of the woods yet. The one driver, Max Verstappen, has speed, but that's when Sergio Perez says, bye-bye, baby. As the race ends, Esteban Ocon goes into the pit, but the mastermind race organizers have let press onto the treacherous pit lane. This is why we can't have nice things. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton finishes 6th. The last great American dynasty, Haas, finishes out of the points, but today was a fairy tale for Sergio Perez. Verstappen finishes in 2nd, which is better than revenge. 1-2 for Red Bull is nothing new. They don't have champagne problems on the podium, but the anti-hero Max Verstappen is only ahead in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift rumors are swirling. Long live Formula One. Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, but we still have 4 races to go. In Austin, Daniel Ricciardo rides a horse named Horsey McHorseface into the paddock. Zach Brown accuses Christian Horner of cheating, and Fort Lauderdale's own Logan Sargent will join Williams in 2023. During quali, Carlos Sainz takes the fastest lap while his teammate Charles Leclerc takes a grid penalty. Martin Brundle gets snubbed by Brad Pitt. Tim Apple doesn't know how to wave a flag. 440,000 people are at the Circuit of the Americas. It's lights out and away we go. On turn 1, Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Sainz tries to recover, but gets hit by George Russell. The Spaniard is out of the race before the 1 lap is even over, and Russell takes a 5-second penalty. Valtteri Bottas' race ends early, and a safety car helps out Charles Leclerc for once. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll get in a massive collision, and debris is everywhere. Lewis Hamilton, on hard tires, leads the race with 10 laps to go, but the Flying Dutchman cannot be beat this year. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel battles to the finish in his final USGP. Baby Lando finishes 6th, and Yuki gets a point. Red Bull wins the constructors.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Mike Ryan wasn't here yesterday. We'll get to Nick Wright in a second. He's the host of What's Right with Nick Wright and FS1's First Things First. He is the hottest thing in sports gasbagging these days. Mike, did you object to anything that I did or the show did yesterday when you were off? Because I suspect that you probably didn't like anything I had to say about the Chiefs.
3 things I took issue with. Tom Brady conversation. I think there's more meat on that bone. We can revisit that later. The phrase Rex Grossman dragged the Bears to the Super Bowl was uttered yesterday, and Dan went unchecked when it was quite literally the other way around.
Totally fair.
And Dan's obsession with calling Patrick Mahomes a dink and dunk quarterback, even invoking Baker Mayfield. When you look at yards per attempt, Patrick Mahomes has a better yards per attempt than Baker Mayfield. If there is one person in the NFL that I am sure of that wants to go deep ball hunting, It's Patrick Mahomes. And I think he will do that until we put dirt on his grave. He doesn't have two important receivers. That loss is entirely on Travis Kelce. And another thing, stop looking at yards per attempt, especially 2 weeks into the season. You know who is last place by a wide margin in the league in yards per attempt? At 4.7? Cam Ward. What do you know about Cam Ward that suggests he is all of a sudden Alex Smith?
Wow. I'm looking at since Tyreek Hill left, Patrick Mahomes, I think, is 39-12 and average yard per attempt. The only one lower in the entire league over that stretch is Daniel Jones.
Hold on. Can I jump? Am I invited in?
And Daniel Jones, by the way, first in yards per attempt right now in the league.
Welcome, Nick.
And also, I am not going to allow what has happened to political discourse happen to sports discourse.
At Fox, where you were? You're surrounded where you were.
Hey, my turn. Where we pretend things that we watched happen didn't happen. Dan, what happened the first year after Tyreek Hill left? Do you know? Yeah. Or you're too soaked in tequila? Patrick Mahomes won league MVP, Super Bowl MVP. The Chiefs scored the most points in the league. The Chiefs had the most yards in the league. And if you look up on Football Reference, hey, what's the single season where a quarterback accounted for the most total yards? It's Patrick Mahomes' first year after Tyreek Hill. So I am not going to sit here on his 30th birthday, no less, and allow you to try to peddle this false narrative that since Tyreek left, the Chiefs' offense hasn't been the same. The first year after Tyreek, with Juju Smith-Schuster, who wasn't good enough to be on the Patriots, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's got cut from multiple teams, and McCole Hardman, that team scored more points than anybody. Right now, they're stuck in the mud a bit after the disastrous season of last year where all they did was reach their third straight Super Bowl, becoming the third team ever to do that. But we're not going to recreate history. Hi, thanks for having me on, and thanks to Hampton Farms for sending me all these sweet nuts.
What happened to political discourse?
I appreciate that. What'd you say?
He said, what happened to political discourse?
Well, what happened to political discourse is we stopped arguing about what we should do about things, and we started arguing about what actually happened in the past, and it ruined everything. Like, we used to agree that what had occurred, what the facts on the ground were, and then we disagreed about solutions or about root causes. But now, every political discussion, you can't even get to the topic because we spend time arguing. It would be as if every Jordan-LeBron debate, somebody came out and they were like, well, how could Jordan be better? He only won 4 championships. And then someone's like, no, he won 6. They're like, actually, you're wrong, fake news. And then we're just arguing about what happened. Like that. So sports, luckily, has avoided that. But I saw the slippery slope, Dan, you're trying to walk down with this, Patrick Mahomes post Tyreek Hill. How good is he? Patrick Mahomes post Tyreek Hill won an MVP. Well, I already explained it.
I'm going to give the same stat I gave yesterday.
Sweet Christ.
Since 2023, games with 320-plus passing yards. Patrick Mahomes has 3. Jake Browning has 3.
Well, listen, that takes me aback a bit because I know, and I'm sure the shipping container does as well, that when we fell in love with sports and when we got into sports media, there were, some hallowed statistical markers, be it Hank Aaron's home run record before Bonds broke it, be it batting 400, and 320-yard passing games is just always been how I've weighed quarterbacks.
All right,
it's not at all an arbitrary marking to fit your exact narrative.
Fine. Let me do it another way then. The first 2 weeks of the season, because you're talking about what Mahomes was after Hill left, and you're right, that one season. But that Chiefs offense that was always going to score 30 is dead. And 2018 to 2022, his passing stats, Nick, in the first 2 weeks of the season, 35 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it's been different.
The last 2 years, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's become a dink and dunk quarterback. There are reasons for that. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's a lot of offensive pieces he's missing. But you can't deny that that's not the same offense. You can't deny that.
I didn't deny that at all. I never denied that. What Patrick Mahomes, what you're saying he's become is what he's always been, which is I will be the perfect quarterback for the exact team I have. And when I walk into the league and we have the league's worst defense and we have the fastest and best receiver in the league, I will fire it downfield. And last year, 2 years ago, when we have maybe the league's best defense, all I need to do is not screw it up. And last year, when they had an okay but not great defense, and they had the most injured receiving core and running back room and left tackle spot in football, I will do whatever it takes to make sure we are within reaching distance in the fourth quarter, when then I will go Superman mode. He is a chameleon to winning. Now, 2 weeks into the year, the Chiefs have not been good enough. The offense hasn't been good enough. Pat hasn't been good enough. The fact that he is, right now, he's on pace for 1,000 yards rushing, which is horrifying. He is having to activate the Patrick Mahomes hero mode, scramble mode, that he saves for the playoffs early. I'm not sitting here arguing that the Chiefs through 2 weeks look like a juggernaut, far from it. And I'm not sitting here arguing that there are not fair concerns 2 weeks in for the Chiefs. And if someone wants to argue the concerns are deeper than get Rice and Xavier Worthy back, that's totally fair. What I will not abide is the revisionist history on who Patrick is and who he isn't. And that's not just because I was an invited guest of his at his new steakhouse in Kansas City Friday night, 1587 Prime. Everyone should check it out. It's really outstanding.
You don't have to abide those things. You can simply concede that the Chiefs over the last 4 years have gone from being an elite offensive team to an elite defensive team. And
But it's just not. Hold on. Last year, they were not an elite defense. Last year, call Mina Kimes and have her tell you about DVOA or EPA or any of those fancy stats that you can't sort on ESPN, and you'll see they were roughly the 10th best defense. And last year, how did they go 17-2 in games Patrick played if we throw out the meaningless Week 18 game? It was because he made every play when it mattered late. And I know the new age sports math is clutch doesn't exist. Actually, when you think about it, Lamar's career and Patrick's career are very similar. But in our bones, we know that's not true. And so it's just not accurate that last year they were carried by the defense. Not when he was the best fourth quarter, the best third down, and the best fourth down quarterback in the league. This year, the defense has been far better than the offense. Now, 2 games is 2 games, and there are things that go into it, but there's no defending what they've been this season. There's what is so irritating and what is so frustrating is we have done this now for 4 years, where there is, and I'll try to be quick because I know we don't have as much time as we normally do. They get blasted in the Super Bowl by the Bucs, and we do the whole narrative of, are the Chiefs in trouble? Nobody remembers this but me. They start the next year 3-4, including a 27-3 loss to Ryan Tannehill, and the Chiefs are dead, and they end up in overtime of the AFC Championship game, but they lose it, and they trade Tyreek Hill, and the narrative is, okay, now we're going to see, what Patrick Mahomes is really made of. He has the year that I said where he wins league MVP, they win the Super Bowl, and everyone says, all right, we're done doubting Patrick Mahomes this year for real. But then the next year, they lose the opener to Detroit. They have all the drops. They have to go on the road in the playoffs, and people going into that postseason are like, you know what? The Cleveland Browns with that defense might be scarier than the Chiefs. The Miami Dolphins might be able to go into Arrowhead and win. They've never won a road playoff game. And then he beats Lamar, he beats Josh, he beats the Niners, and everyone swears, all right, this time for real, we're serious, we're done. And then last year, they have the best record in football every single day of the season, and the narrative is, yeah, but they don't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and this is the Bills' year. And then once again, they play the AFC Championship game. He outplays Josh. He beats Josh. Josh has the ball in his hands with a chance to go win the game, get 17 yards, and everyone swears, we're done doubting him. He's proven it, and that lasted 3 games of football. And now we're back here. It's just, I expect it. Honestly, the gist of this is I'm disappointed in you, Dan.
Yeah, but it's not the same offense, and I'm disappointed in you too because you did your quarterback tiers on your podcast yesterday, and what you haven't admitted to everybody, you finally admitted it once on your podcast yesterday, you had Mahomes after Lamar Jackson on your quarterback tiers. Even Patrick Mahomes' most fervent, biased supporter downgraded Patrick Mahomes. You put Lamar ahead of him. Don't tell me you didn't. Did you or did you? Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
On my podcast, no, I did not. On my highly rated, very successful television show, yes, I did. And that's where we do not our quarterback tiers, but Mahomes Mountain trademark. Here is the thing. I have to be fair. I have to be honest. And I also, and what I took issue with was you calling me biased. I'm not biased on anything. I'm a truth teller. And I'll take the slings and arrows for it. What is also true is, as I mentioned here at the beginning of our interview, what is today? Patrick Mahomes' 30th birthday. What do you get the man who has everything? My answer was motivation. And I decided what better present to give Patrick than when they play the Giants this week, and then who comes to town 10 days from now? Oh, is that Lamar Jackson? Is that the guy that all of a sudden I'm looking up at on Mahomes Mountain? Is that potentially, possibly, the thing the Chiefs need to snap out of their funk? Maybe. Also, Lamar's been great. And nobody's ever doubted that Lamar is an all-time great regular season quarterback. Nobody's ever doubted that, and he's earned it.
That's a great gift.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Greater truth teller, Nick Wright or Pablo Torre? Because
sweet Christ.
Do you put motivation in a box and wrap it? Like, how do you present someone motivation?
Why does your hair look like Razor Ramon's?
Oh, thanks. Hi, Mike. I missed you, buddy.
Present day Razor Ramon.
Yeah, I mean, is that C. Nash or Hall? I don't remember. I apologize. Did he pass?
He did pass away.
He's dead.
All right, that's why Billy did that.
Legend.
Billy's mean.
I am going for that look, by the way. The jewelry, the hair,
it's
all
a
of
good
it.
look.
He needs a toothpick.
Can I? Yeah, for sure. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, Dan, or Mike, by the way, Team Baker, let's go, buddy.
Oh,
He's
boy.
streaking towards the 1 seed as predicted by me, the Super Bowl as predicted by me, and maybe an MVP.
He was the best third down quarterback last year, not Patrick. He was the best third down quarterback.
Nick
Tampa
Wright,
was.
Nick Wright is always right about quarterbacks. He's always maintained his support for Baker Mayfield, and he does deserve to be in the MVP conversation. Continue. Nick, can you believe that Dan, as Patrick Mahomes of all people, be the quarterback that's looking for the 4-yard drag route, as if he's not the guy that is always going to be looking for the deep
He's
shot.
not looking for it. He's just throwing that one. That's what he's throwing the last 2 years.
I mean, he made it to a Super Bowl taking what the defense gives him.
He's doing what he needs to do. Oh, wow. What a look. I like that.
It's awesome.
If I took my shirt off, it'd probably look the same.
Do it.
That's a good one. I was about to tell you guys something.
Pablo. Is
No,
where,
it definitely was not about Pablo.
Motivation boxes.
The only thing I'm going to say, I don't want to do the Pablo thing. It's just, him tweeting to Mark Cuban, oh, you have time to tweet but not have time to come on my podcast. That is fruit of the same poisonous tree as to why I'm banned from his podcast. Pablo's doing great work here. But Pablo somehow got in his head that everyone has some type of odd obligation to his podcast. Like Mark Cuban, you want to opine on this and you won't do it on my podcast where I make money, where my main source, like, how dare you? Like, it's just, a meaner person would call it entitlement. I wouldn't do that. It's just odd to me. Like, I don't I would never imagine if I texted you, Dan, after hearing your Chiefs nonsense yesterday, and I was like, "How dare you talk about that not with me, not on my platform where I can monetize it?" So that part to me is interesting. But he's doing a good job.
The work that Pablo Torre is doing is extraordinary, but the funny part of that particular exchange that did have some entitlement in it is that Mark Cuban is answering questions from Channing Frye and Kendrick Perkins about something that he doesn't have actual knowledge on, instead of talking to the person who actually can rebut some of the things that he's saying.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I also... it's not a congressional subpoena. It's a podcast in Lower Manhattan. Like Cuban can do whatever the hell he wants. Like, it's free form conversation. I don't know how much time we have. Can I say something about Tua? Have you guys talked about this?
Yeah, I got one more before you get into Tua.
We have a total of 4 minutes left with you here. Okay. So Mike's got a question. No, we'll do Mike's question and then Tua.
Real quick, is Travis Kelce, is he kind of skating on this? Because like Patrick Mahomes probably beats the reigning Super Bowl champions without his 2 leading wide receivers if Travis Kelce just holds on to a touchdown pass that ended up turning into an interception. All right? He hurts Xavier Worthy week 1.
Travis had a rough start to the year. Listen, I am of the belief that Travis maybe was covering for Xavier because he said he ran the wrong route. Travis said Travis ran the wrong route, that he needed more depth. I think it's on the board that could have been Xavier's screw up and he's covering for him, but I don't know. But that happens week 1. The other thing that happens week 1 is when they're trying to come back late, he and Patrick have a bit of a miscommunication down by the goal line. And then obviously in week 2, I agree with you, Mike. I think they win that game if he holds on to the ball. It's been a rough start to the year. I am going to give the greatest tight end in the history of the league some grace, and I think he will recover from it. But yeah, I mean, it's been, and Travis will be the first to tell you, it hasn't been a great start to the year for Travis Kelce, despite the fact that he seems, kind of more agile and slimmer than last season.
He's also old, and there's a lot on that body.
Wedding planning's stressful as hell, too.
Well, how about when you say old, this is like one of my favorite facts. He and Gronk are the same age.
Yep.
Like 6 months of each other.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Gronk retired for the first time 6 years ago.
Yep.
Gronk retired 6 years ago and then retired again for good 3 years ago. And Travis is still out here, churning out 1,000-yard or near 1,000-yard seasons.
I would say, though,
that can't say he's not good.
We'll get to Tua in a second, but to expect Travis Kelce at, 36, 35?
36.
To expect a 1,000-yard season from him at 36 would be to expect something from a 36-year-old tight end that 36-year-old tight ends historically simply can't do. He's done it, but not at 36.
No, that's correct. And I mean, last year he had, I think, almost 900. The year before he had 980. This year he's actually on pace, yardage-wise for 1,000. But agree, listen, he has broken all those types of tight end records. I think Tony Gonzalez is the only old tight end to have, really prolific seasons like that. But right now they need him. And they're going to need him until they get their guys back. And they're going to need to... When your guys' season fully goes to hell, you think we can trade for Achane? I'd like that. I'd like him.
More than Hill? You don't want Hill back?
Honest to God, only because I don't want to further your narrative. I would otherwise. But
so you don't want 30-point games anymore because you don't want the 30-point offense anymore that's always going over 30 points. That's not for you. You'd rather win.
In 4 years with Tyreek Hill on this team, the Chiefs won 1 Super Bowl, went to 2. In 3 years without him, they've went to 3 Super Bowls and won 2. They've been just fine. And what they need right now is a running game, to be totally honest. But I know that's not all sexy for you.
Get Brashard Smith in there. You do have Achane. It's Brashard Smith, baby.
Jalen Wright's available.
You guys don't like Pacheco? We're done with Pacheco?
He's just
Pacheco broke his leg and sadly hasn't been the same since then. Can I say my one Tua take?
Yes.
He's got to stop doing press conferences, man.
So bad.
He's so bad at them consistently. And he can't be like, listen, you can't say about the quarterback you're about to play, obviously he runs it and throws it better than you.
I'm half the quarterback he is.
I'm not anything close. That guy, man, how much fun would it be to have a quarterback that good? Bro, you make almost as much money as him. You're in the same division. You can't say, you then have to at least add in, be like, but he can't do what I can do. But the problem is, the answer to that's nothing. There's nothing Tua can do that Josh can't do. So that's a bad press conference. This is a bad one. Bad.
Host of What's Right with Nick Wright and FS1's First Things First. You can watch him, as I said, First Things First, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1. But I would recommend more strongly the podcast he does with his son, just because I love your father-son dynamic, and I love that you're showing that side of yourself to people.
I appreciate that. I learned from the best as far as doing, bring your family into your sports media orbit. So I appreciate that. I would apologize for my tone at the beginning of this and for implying that you drank too much tequila and yelling at you, but
not an insult
I stand
to
by
tell
every
me.
word of it. This is dumb. You said we were done with this, and I don't have the full screen up. But did you guys have this picture as like a lower bottom corner thumbnail the whole time?
Nick, we're out of time. I'm sorry, we're out of time. We'll see you. We'll see you soon.
It seems as though the Kansas City Chiefs' legacy is on the line, headed into Sunday Night Football against the New York Giants, where you have a dink and dunk quarterback such as Patrick Mahomes going up against a yards per attempt juggernaut in Russell Wilson just 2 weeks into the season. Great stat. And let me tell you about a great place to get tickets to watch this game between the new version of Alex Smith and the new version of Dan Marino. You go to Game Time. You download that app. You create an account, and you use a promo code Dan when you're looking for tickets. All right? What you see is what you pay. You get $20 off when you use that promo code DAN on your first purchase. You get zone deals. You get panoramic seat views. Trust me, I use Game Time all the time. It is the absolute best. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
I'm going to betray Nick Wright right now because of how we began that interview and read a text exchange that Nick Wright and I had. I texted him simply last week the word Pablo with an exclamation point. And this was the day that he had the second Kawhi Leonard story, which I'm not going to assume is the last of the Kawhi Leonard stories. And Nick's response to that was, what about him? And I'm like, well, he's unspooling 7-month investigations while you fart clicks. And his response was, counterpoint. I'm providing content that is helping provide hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of sports fans a fun respite in this interminable hellscape we currently live in, while he is getting applause from the absolute most boring people in the world about a story that even the most diehard NBA fans can only pretend to kind of care about. Bonus counterpoint. My farted out Mahomes takes will result in the exact same number of real sanctions as his 7 months of Kawhi reporting. 0.
Now, that part he's probably right about.
But it is good journalism, and I applaud him for it. He better get his tux ready for the 2026 Peabodys. It's a real feud.
My favorite part was only the most boring people care about this.
Their feud is real. It is majestic, magisterial. Ray Hudson might say, which allows me to play a Ray Hudson clip today, like I will every day until the World Cup.
Wonderful predator inside the box. What a ball! He did it again, and it's goal! Messi's magic that is bringing the curtain up, and it's Villa that's bringing the curtain down.
Real Madrid's defense stretched out like spandex on Miami Beach, and Casillas is left naked again. It's the visionary genius of Lionel Messi and the precise weight of the pass that opens the white shirts up like a fresh fish.
Do you guys know that hockey, the Panthers are playing an exhibition game in 4 days?
Dan, I was sitting at the table before our pre-production meeting this morning. I'm on ESPN.com. I want to check out what's going on in our world. And it says right there under my favorites that the Florida Panthers have a game, a preseason game, against the Predators on the date 9/20. 21. And so I thought about it for a second. Hold on. Today, I believe, is 9/17, and I did some quick math. And it appears to me the Panthers have a preseason game in 4 days.
We are so back.
Oh, my God. That made me so happy. 4 days?
Did you think that you had your months wrong and that it was 9 and 9 was next month?
Well, I get confused sometimes. Is 9 September? Is 9 August? You can't tell me you always know immediately the number of the month.
What's the month you get most confused with the number?
Probably around August, September.
Yeah.
I think that's the
I'm
most
like, August,
confusing.
is that 9? Like,
also, April's a little bit confusing to me, too.
I'm a little worried. I put the date down, and I was like, okay, 9/17. I don't know what's happening.
Why is April hard for you? I would have thought
April's pretty
7.
easy.
I would have thought July. I would have thought something in the middle of June, July.
We all have our shortcomings, okay?
December, Billy, is the hard one for you?
We never got to his steakhouse. You got invited to Patrick Mahomes' steakhouse. Is it
I
good?
saw
Is it
he
bad?
posted pictures
1587.
and everything. You know, thanks to Patrick and Trav.
Trav. Ugh.
The telephone number, if you want to make the boldest take better than the boldest takes have been, is 305-486-GOTS, 305-486-4689. Every time I play some of the calls, I'm reminded of how good our competitive, creative community used to be, competing with each other to have the best and the funniest of the takes. The boldest take has not quite lived up to what used to be our golden heyday. It's inconsistent, but very often it's strong. Chris, how do you feel about this particular batch of boldest takes?
Listeners, that's Dan's take. The shipping container appreciates the creativity you guys have shown recently in the Boldest Take hotline, presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
Hello, it's me, Mario Cristobal. The U is back. Woohoo!
You know, it's only been 2 games, but Indiana Jones for Daniel Jones is the second most perfect sports nickname behind AK-47.
When they went from showing Marcus Freeman to showing Mike Elko in the pregame interviews, it was the biggest coaching looks discrepancy of all time.
Why do gas stations still have a credit card price, and for 10 cents less you can pay cash? What are we, a bunch of Dan Le Batards dropping a hundy down at the counter to save 10 cents a gallon?
I was just wondering if anybody else has ever had any back problems after taking a huge dump.
It's not a debate. The best celebration is the big balls dance.
Good ranch sauce needs to be drizzly, not thick and globby.
Is most game broadcasting people just saying what you already thought just a second ago?
My boldest take is that you should not be able in the NFL to put junior on your jersey unless your father played in the NFL.
Stop acting like sideline reporters are real journalists. They are reporters who have literally been sidelined.
You have a collect call from...
You have one Danny Woodhead here on the Patriots, but other than that, are the 49ers the greatest white football team to ever play? Running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, and pass rusher, all white?
To accept charges, please say yes or say no.
Is that guy in jail? Good take by him, though.
305-486-GOTS.
Could it have been a payphone?
305-486-4689.
That's incredible. I didn't notice that. Since a great Monday Night Football race war of 2 years ago between the Niners and Ravens, the Niners have only gotten more white.
Billy has a football take that I haven't heard anyone else have, and he wants injuries more acknowledged during football instead of everything that's done during football to make sure that we skip right past the injuries.
No, sort of. I was complaining that, plays result in injuries, and if there's a flag, then the play doesn't count. But the injury still does count. Yeah. And I don't think that that's right. You can't just, pretend that a play didn't happen, but then all of a sudden someone's out 6 to 8 months because they broke a collarbone or something. So I feel like if an injury happens, play stands.
Yeah. Stupid.
What? What was that?
You heard me.
You sick? Was it a little sniffle? What was that?
No,
what was
that was a real word.
Say it with your chest.
No,
next
that was
time.
a real word that came out.
What
of
did
my
you
mouth.
say?
How about you admit that you heard it?
I didn't hear anything. For a little boy over there making some noises.
I mean,
trying to cough and say something. Say it.
I said something. You're playing dumb as if you didn't hear it.
What did you say?
Listen. I don't
5.
I don't repeat myself.
4.
3.
3.
1.
2. 1. Timeout. You're in timeout.
That works with my daughter every time.
You're in timeout.
Does it work?
The countdown? Yeah.
She's never tested you to get to the end of it?
It's just go up to your room and clean.
You start slowing down the numbers.
Clean up your room. You're still here. Gracelyn, 5, 4, and she starts moving. Yeah.
1.5. 1.
I'll repeat it for him, even though he will not do it. Because
the time has passed. I already counted down.
He thought it was stupid, what you suggested, which is a play should stand. I want to explore your idea, though. A broken collar. If you break your collarbone to make a catch, that you can't have an offensive holding. I don't know how serious the injury has to be, but I do think there's a place where we have to allow for the play to stand, because you can't cancel it based on some sort of stupidity that happened 45 yards away.
Did you see Jaden Reed's IG Live after he came out of the surgery? He was like, we're winning the Super Bowl.
Indiana Jones is a great name for Daniel Jones and his reinvention.
It's so early in the season.
It's not going to last.
But
Things
this
are looking good,
I
boys.
Can't possibly, right? He just became like Steve Young all of a sudden.
Is it possible Daniel Jones continues to play really well, and we're in week like 6, 7, 8? He's really good. Maybe he's even an MVP candidate, Tony. And as a result, Brian Daboll gets fired.
I think Daboll will be fired for whatever's happening in New York now.
But I like this. The Giants end up having a decent season, but they're just like, no.
Yeah.
Well,
because of that.
Daboll did more with Daniel Jones than McDaniel did with Tua.
And look at what he's doing with Russell Wilson.
Yards per attempt monster.
I don't believe that Daboll did more than Daniel Jones, even though he won a playoff game.
That right there, he did more.
No, but you guys, that's not a stat,
That
man.
right there, a playoff win is not a stat.
Not for just the quarterback.
Wait,
that's
yards
not,
per attempt is a stat, but playoff wins isn't. Okay.
Playoff wins,
Okay.
yes, yards per attempt from the person using the arm for yards per attempt. That's an isolated measurement. Playoff wins is not an isolated measurement.
Here's a stat. In that game, the Giants had a higher point differential than their opponent.
It's a good stat.
It's a good one.
You've brought me around now. I agree. I now lay my sword down at your feet and say, yes, Daboll did more with Daniel Jones because he won a playoff game with Daniel Jones.
Dolphins haven't done that in 25 years, so we're laughing at
Again,
this. But
This Dolphin fan poo-pooing
yeah.
Brian Daboll winning a playoff game.
Wins is not a quarterback stat.
But it's a coach stat.
Ooh.
It's not a quarterback stat, but it's a coach stat.
Oh.
Brian Daboll won.
Hang on.
Mike McDaniel, 0.
It becomes a playoff stat. It becomes a quarterback stat when the quarterback also plays well in that playoff victory, which Daniel Jones did. So you can say, like, Daniel Jones played really, really well as an underdog in the playoff.
It should be a quarterback stat in the playoffs. I'm with you on regular season. In the playoffs, quarterback stat wins. Different from the regular season because it means more.
You know who's second to last in yards per attempt right now?
Who?
Joe Burrow. What about Joe Burrow tells you he's Alex Smith?
Well, that's not going to go up anytime soon.
Except for his inability to stay healthy.
So, all of you rather have Jalen Hurts than Patrick Mahomes because he won the last playoff
I'm a
game.
Jalen Hurts kind of guy, though. You know?
Jalen Hurts seems to be pretty good. I'd rather have Patrick Mahomes, though, because to my last breath on this earth, I will know that Patrick Mahomes looks to show off that deep arm talent that is unparalleled, perhaps in the history of the game. First,
Tony, why are you shaking your head no?
Because I agree with you, but it's a bad position for him to be in. That everybody's like, yeah, he wants to throw the ball deep. Yeah, he does, but he doesn't.
It was also the wrong question because if we were just saying that's a coach's stat, the question would be, do you want Nick Sirianni over Andy Reid?
But Andy Reid has more Super Bowls.
And he's lovable.
Yeah. I do enjoy,
He's got
though.
a dark side for sure.
No way.
I do enjoy,
What's his relationship with the devil?
He's like a coach I would look at and say, that's one guy I know doesn't have a dark side.
Well, his family life is
we don't have to go there.
No.
That's not what we're doing.
No. We're just talking about
stat of the day or something. What
Go
are we gonna
on.
do here?
He's jolly. Who are you telling to go on?
To be determined.
What do you mean to be
You don't want Dan
determined?
to go down this road.
What do you mean determined?
You might be new around these parts.
We
You
were
don't
having
want Dan to do
fun.
this.
Man, we were having fun.
I just anytime I think of Andy
Here we
Reid,
go.
I
No,
think
no.
about
No.
Hamburgers,
Go on.
cheeseburgers.
How about
that's what
no?
you're
don't-
Delicious.
don't-
The guy going down the stairs.
How about this Tom Brady thing? He looked funny in those headphones.
is how much he enjoys Cheese Whiz.
There we go. We're
And
back.
says that he enjoys Cheese Whiz. You guys are doing the best, and I think it really is my favorite of the football analysis, which is guy who wins all the time, he's the best. or guy.
How do you do it?
Yeah.
Whoever loses
tell me how
could
I'm
be the
stupid.
best. I mean,
Tell me how I'm stupid for doing that.
Participation award over here.
It's a good formula.
Yeah, Tom Brady won a lot. He seems pretty good.
There are a lot of ways to measure individual performance.
Rings.
And you guys, when you're doing analysis of people, there is no insight in they won, therefore he's the best.
But Patrick Mahomes is the best and has been the best ever since Tom Brady went away. And he also does the conventional winning. And we were doing this last year when they had a point differential that like the New York Giants. And what happened? Patrick Mahomes found a way. He makes the plays. He made the plays against Philadelphia. You can put that loss on literally anyone else on that roster, not Patrick Mahomes.
Well, what are you doing there? Because the other guys won. What are you doing there? If wins are the quarterback stat, what are you doing where Patrick Mahomes loses and he's not responsible for it?
I'm merely saying, you're taking the strange position that the problem is Patrick Mahomes when it's very clearly not.
I'm not taking the position the problem is Patrick Mahomes. I'm saying that team's no longer what it was on offense.
And I'm saying you did that last year and they made it to a Super Bowl, and I know that quarterback can fix it if he has his full complement of receivers.
But the offense is still not the same. They can make it to the Super Bowl, but the offense isn't the same.
Let him get his receivers back.
Okay, we've been waiting for 2 years for that to happen. And
they've been literally gone for 2 years.
Everything is bigger in Texas, Dan, except for F1 drivers.
Yes, it's time for the F1 minute here, even though I want to hear that sound
gave it
again.
away?
Je suis stressé pour les minutes de Formule 1. J'ai besoin d'énergie. Énergie.
Let's go, energy.
Oh, energy.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Circuit Paracas pour le Grand Prix de France. Les températures élevées sur le circuit signifient que la gestion des tuyaux va être essentielle. Charles Leclerc, le pilote automobile monégasque, fait face à Max Verstappen pour la première place. Le pilote Ferrari doit gagner pour rester dans les championnats. Mais non! Quelle horreur! Une catastrophe! Sacré bleu! Charles Leclerc sort de la course! Encore de la malchance! Il est fini! Une honte! Max Verstappen prend une grosse avance. Lewis Hamilton, le pilote Mercedes, est 12e. Carlos Sainz, l'autre pilote Ferrari, a commencé à la 19e place. Tout sa pénalité pour le changement du moteur. Et les roues contre roues avec Sergio Perez, mais l'imbécile de chez Ferrari recommence. Max Verstappen a fini premier de la course. Carlos Sainz est le pilote toujours. Lando, l'enfant Norris, a terminé 7e. Lance Stroll a terminé avec un point. Félicitations, Mike Crack.
Huh?
Wow! Oh my God!
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Merci.
Oh my God! Was there an imbecile in there? Did you say imbecile?
Les imbéciles de chez Ferrari recommencent.
That sounded so exciting. I have no idea what happened.
Les pauvres Charles Leclerc, les pauvres.
My God, that was incredible.
That was really
I am
good.
so
Merci,
jealous that
merci
you can do that.
Christophe. Merci Guillermo.
Well, the music ran out, but I think you should, because we didn't have an F1 minute today. I think you should give people Lord of the Rings minute. Yes, I think you should give people.
Spoiler alert or no spoiler
Dangerous
alert?
game, man.
Dangerous game because of what?
To us, you can spoil as much as you want. So I say go for as many spoilers as you like.
All right, I'll give a spoiler of what happened at the end of the last
Hold on.
episode.
Let me get you music.
It was insane. Okay, so spoiler. Do not listen if you don't want to know what happened in the last episode of The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. So Galadriel and Halbrand, who everyone thinks might be Sauron, they go from Numenor back to Middle-earth, and they're in the Southlands. And the guy who's like the head elf of the Southlands, who's trying to help protect all the people who are getting invaded by the ORC army, they're trying to figure out how to get the orcs to go away, the ORC army, and to get free of them. And right now, a lot of people are calling it Before-Dor. We think they're in Mordor before it becomes Mordor, before Mount Doom erupts. Interesting, because there's been a mountain that they've shown a couple times in different scenes throughout the series, right? So we're like, okay, how are the people going to defeat the orcs? Because the orcs, the ORC army, they're badasses, and they have this guy who's a leader, and his name's Adar, which means father. And we're like, maybe he's Sauron. But he's trying to get this thing that looks like a sword, but it's actually like kind of a key, and it looks like it's in the shape of Mordor. So he's trying to get that, and this little kid Theo has it, and his mom Bronwyn is in charge of all these people. So they trap the orcs inside the Elven Tower, and then the orcs come to the town, the ones that survive, and it looks like the people beat the orcs, but then the orcs come back. There's more orcs, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Galadriel and Halbrand and the Númenóreans charge in on their horses, and they save all the people, and it's like, holy shit. And so Galadriel finally finds Adar, and she's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your deal is. Are you Sauron? What's going on here? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to be mysterious. And then Halbrand comes in, and Halbrand tries to kill him. And everyone's like, well, why would Halbrand kill him if he's Sauron? And this is a servant of Sauron. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We're not sure yet. I kind of think he is. And then fast forward, the little sword thing that they had, it was wrapped up in like a burlap sack. And the little kid is about to throw it like into the Sundering Sea or whatever to get rid of it forever. He opens it. The sword's gone. It's a decoy. This old creepy guy stole it, took it back to the Elven Tower, which used to be where there was dark magic happening, shoved it in the ground, turned it. It created a chain reaction. All this water starts pouring in underground where the orcs have been tunneling, the OSC army. And Mount Doom erupts, and it covers the sky in ash.
The Heat just won with Jeremy Taché.
Because Jeremy was an alleged journalist last night. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Jeremy, who is an up-and-comer in the broadcasting game and is someone who has now journalistic credentials around, literal credentials around the Heat and the Marlins. Yesterday he was hosting. And this is one of the great things, Stugotz, this time of year. We get it so infrequently around here in South Florida. But South Florida has always done this well. The rest of the country always makes fun of, you guys don't care about that sports that much. You're bandwagon people. All right. Many of us are. Not everyone is. The loyalists are super loyal. But Miami does the bandwagon better than anybody. Miami does. Everyone now show up for the party. And so you have, stunningly, a hockey arena in the Everglades, surrounded by airboats and alligators, filled with people to do the wave, watching the game on television. And at the Heat, across the street from us last night, Jeremy Taché is watching the end of that game with a lot of people who are excited. And Stugotz, I'm getting a lot of this. Jimmy was out of bounds, and it ended up being a 3. That was a goaltend ref culture win. Okay, whatever. Tell it to the people who were yelling and screaming around Jeremy.
How about this? 1-1, we're coming home.
Okay, who's we?
Yeah, I took the Heat in 5. Anyone else?
He's right.
All right. The Knicks are watching this like everybody
2
else.
rounds ago.
It was a long time ago, understandably. Here's Jeremy Taché not being a journalist while covering, again, an arena filled with people, but no players or athletes were there.
Coming up today on the Alley Oop on DLS Hoops page on YouTube. Bro, we talking Skylar Diggins and milk bags. Trust me, it ain't what it sounds like, but it is exactly what it sounds like. Also, Alyssa Thomas, if we get this performance in the NBA, are we having Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith call her, dare I say, a fraud? I'm not saying it. I would say that, but I'm saying WNBA players, we want the respect, so we got to accept the criticism. You feel me? So, yeah, today on DLS Hoops, Alley-Oop, me and my sister, Trista Crick, we discussing it all, baby. Also, our talented producer, Miss Rebecca, she is A1 top of the pops today. Don't miss it. Check us out.
Hey, what's up, Le Batard fans? It's your girl, Roz Goldenwood with Good Follow Show. And this week, we are talking about the WNBA playoffs. It has begun. We are in the thick of the first round, and we are going to be looking at X factors and making watch lists of the Liberty versus Mercury series. And also for the number 1 seed Lynx versus the number 8 seed Valkyries. Both of them are taking on a game 2. And then there's been so many storylines that are a lot of fun to follow that have been happening off the court during WNBA playoffs. So we are going to dive into that in a brand new game called Good Follow or Unfollow. So we love games on the show. Definitely come and play with us and join us because we drop every Tuesday and Thursday. Good Follow is presented by DraftKings, and we'd love to see you there. Pull up.
I'd like to talk with you guys a little bit about what is happening surrounding Adam Silver, because you guys say don't follow the legend, Nick Saban, don't follow the legend, Bill Belichick. And the way Adam Silver followed the legend, David Stern, was by being so bold, or appearing so bold, I should say, appearing so bold. Because when he took the team from Donald Sterling, it was actually a very easy decision because all the other owners wanted him to do that because they hated Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling was an embarrassment to all the other owners for a long time.
Except for Mark Cuban, funny enough.
And the position that Adam Silver now finds himself in is an interesting one, because I thought once upon a time he was a progressive, modern leader who was younger than David Stern, who would be allied to the players, more gentle, wouldn't be iron-fisted dictator.
You don't believe that anymore?
Well, he's just gotten old, right? Adam Silver has aged during the tenure in a way that might make him make a few of the mistakes that he made when he called it a highlight league. He's walked some of that back here recently because he had to. When you've signed this much in television contracts, you cannot tell your television partners that it's a highlight league on the internet. Let's listen to Adam Silver walking some of that back before we get to some other Adam Silver comments, because he's been caught off guard by Pablo Torre's reporting that is so thorough that it has showed that Adam Silver benefited from a soft media for the last few years, that he's smarter than usually in the way that we cover some of these things, but he's been behind Pablo Torre, and Pablo Torre has made some of the things that he has said look bad with new information. But let's get some walking back here, some backpedaling on Adam Silver calling his league a highlight league.
He has said that. You have said you hadn't heard of aspiration before.
That's the wrong sound, the other sound.
Okay, I thought you were talking about
highlight league is what I said. We'll get to the Adam Silver responding to aspiration in a second, but the highlight league backtrack is the one that I wanted first.
A portion of the question, the end of the question, was about the impact of social media. That's what I was answering on our sport. And what I was saying in a very positive way, and I think it's additive to those who watch our games live and increases the likelihood that they'll watch our games live. By saying highlights based, I meant, when I watch the traditional sports center, and they have the top 10 plays and 5 of those are NBA plays, I'm like, yeah, I'm not thinking like, oh, damn, more highlights are being promoted from our league. I mean, conventionally, the reaction that was like, that's really good. It's a live game full of highlights. I mean, by definition, highlights aren't necessarily past tense. I mean, when the NBA games are packed with action, and I guess it was misconstrued, but the point I was trying to make is that there is this community of social media followers, frankly, globally estimated at roughly around 2.5 billion people connect with the NBA in some way.
I think he's full of crap. I think he's full of crap because he says there that, if you remember what the question was, I was answering about social media. I have the question. You want to hear what the question was? This was back after the owners' meeting, which was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. The actual question was, it's becoming very expensive to watch the NBA as a fan, not just to go to games, but also in order to, there's different streaming services you have to subscribe to. Some of the RSNs are expensive. I know there are points of entry for fans to interact with the NBA. There's social media, a lot of younger fans. That is how they're experiencing the sport. But I wonder how much you think about that and how that will shape the next generation of fans. That's a question about cost. He's full of crap.
Not the only time that he's full of crap, because let's go to the original sound that Adam Silver gave us before Pablo Torre's additional reporting that made all of this sound very foolish.
The podcast came out. It was news to me. I'd frankly never heard of the company Aspiration before, and I'd never heard a whiff of anything around an endorsement deal with Kawhi or anything around engagement with the Los Angeles Clippers. So it was all new to me.
And that didn't seem right at the time, and it proved to not be right when Pablo Torre reported what he did. And so this is what Adam Silver had to say after that.
He has said that. You have said you hadn't heard of Aspiration before. But a $300 million deal with the team, the team was going to be like a jersey patch sponsor. They had Aspiration on the back of the courtside seats. I think Pablo...
Just to be clear, I'm not sure if I said I never... If I said I never heard of it, I meant in the context of the accusations here. I mean, I certainly was aware of the brand, but I didn't know anything about
Got it, yes, because I think just earlier today, Pablo tweeted, he said that because it was a $300 million deal, it was a founding sponsorship agreement. And those, as I would expect, have to be approved at the league level.
Why is he lying? I mean, like you can't be any clearer than, quote, I've never heard of the company Aspiration.
Why is he lying? Because the truth makes everybody look really terrible. The truth, why is everyone lying? Because the truth is, and I know this is complicated thicket of information, because it is rare in my lifetime to see a journalist put in the work in sports that would come close to a smoking gun on things the seventh richest person in the world is trying to hide. Usually we can't get close to those things. The corridors of power in sports and around money in general make it that there is just these giant gulfs between the people who are running sports and the people covering sports. And we're not actually allowed near many of the guard gates, never mind through them. So Pablo Torre's reporting on this, if it is factual that Ballmer put in tens of millions of dollars, should make this one of the biggest sports scandals that we've seen in a decade, and the biggest one in that sport, non-crime division, and there is the accusations here are not crimes around.
That's a big asterisk, non-crime division, because there have been a lot of gambling scandals in the NBA, like just these past 2 years.
Well, you tell me.
Sterling was pretty big.
Yes, it was.
I think that was over a decade ago, though. At this point,
Donaghy.
Sterling was pretty big, and I would say that it was pretty big because of what the commissioner did. If the commissioner did the same thing here, this one would be as big. It doesn't have the racial elements, but it would be as big if they got rid of the owner, which they're not going to do.
I'm glad that you mentioned Sterling, because Silver came out of the gates getting a lot of credit for his handling of Donald Sterling and being more progressive than any of the other commissioners when it came to gambling. But in retrospect, that seemed like we were moving in that direction either way. So he bought a lot with how he handled Donald Sterling. Do you remember how poorly he handled Robert Sarver and what the initial punishment was?
I don't
which
remember.
Was just a year-long suspension. While Chris Paul and LeBron James came out and heavily criticized what went on with Robert Sarver and how it was allowed to do. You remember what pushed Bud Selig out? It feels like, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but people weren't happy with that All-Star Game fiasco. The NBA's got its own All-Star Game fiasco. In fact, the NBA has bigger problems right now. Style of play, ratings way down, load management. These are all things that happen on Adam Silver's watch.
This is his NBA.
This is his NBA. And now you add the Kawhi thing to this. Let's not forget the Daryl Morey China thing. There have been a lot of bad things that have happened to this man's resume. When just a few years ago, along the time of Ray Rice, he would have argued easily Roger Goodell is the worst commissioner in sports, and Adam Silver is the best. Shoes on the other foot.
You're right.
Roger Goodell's wholly turned that thing around.
I mean, unless they find actual federal crimes or whatever that have been committed in this, the story's like, in terms of how it's affected the league, it's largely insignificant, right? Like, you have a guy who refuses to play a lot of the time, who went to a team where he didn't really impact anything. They didn't win a championship or anything, and they circumvented a salary cap and, again, didn't really impact any of the results.
Well, it's up to the owners, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, big picture, it's not like, oh, now we need to strip a team of a title. This is the integrity of the game. Like, it hasn't really impacted results very much.
Right, like if they won a title, if they had any kind of actual success, I suppose there'd be a bigger outcry.
I think it depends on what the penalty is, guys. Like, I will.
We don't think there's going to be a big penalty, is what we're saying.
That's a big problem.
Okay, and maybe there won't be.
Sin.
Maybe there won't be a big penalty. I don't know that we can comment on this intelligently, though, until we see what all the reporting is and what the penalty is, because the Donald Sterling story was obviously a salacious, scandalous story because we had audio of racism at a time. Think of the time period this was. Like, race as subject matter was something that it mushroom clouded for reasons that have been happening in this country for the last 10 years at that time. And so you had the scandal there. But what made it the story that it became is, holy shit, a commissioner just came down and took somebody's team. Like, it was the penalty that made it mushroom into the larger story. When you guys talk about a commissioner doing a good job or not, what's the job? Because Goodell was seen as a clown, but was making money for the league. And Adam Silver, while not a clown, Adam Silver found a revenue source in streaming that didn't exist before, and the consequences, if not for streaming, maybe all those things you just mentioned would have actually hurt the dollars because fewer people were watching. But it doesn't matter. The teams are worth more than they've ever been, and the money is rolling in at an unprecedented number.
I don't think you can give them credit for finding streaming when I think they're last to the streaming rights fees. Now, streaming platforms have evolved and have increased resources and a higher priority on getting live sports rights, but the NFL was talking to streamers well before, and they had their deal with Prime and Netflix. The NHL, like their basically league pass package went to ESPN. MLB had Roku and Tubi. Yeah, we're doing the streaming thing again. They had exclusive, so I don't know how much credit you can give Adam Silver for finding this. But to your point, the saving grace for Roger Goodell when he was in the middle of the Ray Rice stuff and it legitimately felt like he was going to get fired was he kept raising the watermark in terms of rights and what the league was generating, and Adam Silver's done that.
I'm not giving Adam Silver credit for discovering streaming. I'm simply saying that by happenstance, an amount of money has appeared out of nowhere that makes it so that those owners are probably happy with the job Adam Silver's doing, because I will ask you guys again, what is the commissioner's primary job? Because I think we think of it as protect the league, protect the optics, protect the future of the league. And I think the owners say, no, how much cash are you making me right now? That's the number one job of Adam Silver.
No, you're right. I think the average sports fan thinks the commissioner's job is to be in charge of the league, to be like the law and order of the league and be in charge of making sure everything is fair and just. But in pro sports, it's literally the job of the commissioner just to make the owners
But few
money.
sports a decade ago were better positioned for global domination, like the NBA, and that stuff is cool. They've been slow on this expansion to Europe. I don't know if the same energy, because of the things that I outlined, style of play, load management. You don't know if you buy a ticket, you're going to see the stars playing. These are all newer things that have happened on Adam Silver's watch that David Stern, say what you will about the man, I don't think
he was the best.
He would not let this stuff happen when it came to, I buy a ticket to said game.
Yep.
I don't see start because of what? Because they're resting?
He was that commissioner that I just described we wish or thought that commissioners are supposed to be, the ones that keep the league in order and make sure that everything is on the up.
Popovich, I remember where that started. Popovich in Miami let his starters stay in San Antonio, and David Stern thundered in and corrected that. But this is an important distinction you guys are making between how it is that these leagues are led, because I would say that soon after on a commissioner's job, very soon after, on the priority list of make owners money, and David Stern did this very differently, and this has happened quietly under Adam Silver. The owners didn't feel like they were David Stern's boss. They are Adam Silver's boss. And the job of Adam Silver beyond making money is to be the protective buffer. This is all Goodell did at the beginning when there was chaos around him. Hey, make sure this shit doesn't get near Jerry Richardson. Make sure that none of this shit gets close to the money. Just take the hit as the leader of the league so that we're not yelling about any of the owners. Be the protective buffer on this. But here he's compromised because this is an owner everyone loves, and this is an owner who is very much Adam Silver's boss. Like when Steve Ballmer returns Silver's calls a little more slowly than Silver returns Ballmer's calls. That's the way that relationship works.
Yeah.
The money is the power there, and part of the job is protect the owners from being seen as all of this. Protect all of the owners from being covered in the garbage. You take the hit on it.
I mean, it's very clear that Adam Silver is trailing on this story. His answers on it have been bad. When Deflategate is happening or when the Stephen Ross tampering stuff is happening, Roger Goodell kind of sprang into action. You announce like this investigation panel, and I know that Adam Silver has done that, even though there's ambiguity surrounding that. But he wasn't saying quotes that made things worse. It's a challenge for him to navigate, and I don't think he's navigating it well.
When you say, Zaslow, that Adam Silver is full of crap, aren't we all, like actually, literally, aren't we all full of crap?
You're talking about the GI tract, yes.
I'm talking about how your back hurts when you take a big dump.
What? That's never happened to me, unlike that caller.
I did like his accent, though. Yeah. I got to tell you, I do love that segment, Boldest Take. It's growing on me.
Tony has football observations that he has not made this week, and he is somewhere outside. It is raining outside, and I don't know exactly where he is because I can't see him at this precise moment, but I suspect there he is. I see him on the preview, and soon. Look at that. Look at that landscape. That looks fake behind Tony. That is Freedom behind him. Over his right shoulder, he have Freedom, the Freedom Tower over his left shoulder. What do we do with that Freedom? We waste it. We waste $800 million on that thing over there, over his, that arch that's not a bridge, that is just a useless built thing that is making downtown traffic just awful in Miami. No reason for that. That is just wasteful spending. Downtown Miami is filled with construction because we can only build up. What is that thing behind Tony? It is a giant waste of money. I don't understand why that's there.
Don't forget the flooding.
Oh, and it floods right under there. Yes.
That thing is edging right now.
That would be a useful bridge if, 10 years from now, all of South Florida is underwater, and that's how we were traveling that high up. But it's not a bridge, is it?
It's going to be a bridge.
Is it? Are we sure? You sure it's not just a visual arch? Are you positive?
It's definitely not going to be a bridge.
It's called the Downtown Miami Arch Bridge.
Yeah, but is it a functional bridge, or is it just
when they build the road under it? Like the Golden Gate Bridge, you didn't just snap your finger and then all of a sudden there's a bridge there. You have to build the different portions of the bridge.
So that's what they're going for.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure this is structural, though, as a part of the whole bridge thing. I think this is mainly aesthetics,
This
right?
is for a Tom Cruise movie where he's going to, like, jump across something.
Yeah, we got two people full of shit right now, Adam Silver and Billy. That's not a bridge.
I mean, it's going to be a bridge. It's going to be
the
associated with a bridge.
It's whatever you guys want it to be.
I'm trying to back you up here, Billy. I think, but right now, like, it is going to be a bridge. But is this part of like the structure, or is this just aesthetics?
This was part of the thing that'll make you say, "Oh, that's a cool looking bridge. Look, it has this over it."
Right.
We built this just for Tony's segment.
When this is done 25 years from now, you're going to love it and call it a bridge. Yeah.
So you're assuming South Florida is going to be
25 years from now, that thing will be done, I think.
Okay.
Hello, Tony.
I would say South Florida might be done in 25 years. At Le Batard Show, put it on the poll. More likely to be finished in 25 years, that bridge or South Florida? Tony, so you are on what floor right now of the lovely and extravagant and luxurious Elser?
Dan, we're on the 13th floor, I believe. It just says pool, so I don't know. They don't have the floor exactly.
We have
but
a
I think we're on the
13th
13th
floor.
or
I
12th
thought
floor.
most places tried to not have 13 floors.
The floor still exists, though.
Yeah.
They just don't call it that.
That always confuses me because we don't want to label it 13, but then I'm not stupid. I know that the floor then that's labeled 14.
And you know where you really are.
Is actually 13. So how do we handle that?
Hotels should just have a blank, empty space.
Yeah.
How does that work? What percentage?
Well, we've got pool and fitness.
What percentage?
That's the floor we're on. Pool
do you
and
guys
fitness.
imagine what percentage of hotels actually label it 13 and then don't label it 13 simply because it's unlucky? Because it's totally inconsistent, right? Do you think the majority of hotels will have 13 as the number or won't have 13
I
as the
usually
number?
see in an elevator it's skipped. 12, 14. It's wild. Everyone knows where you really are.
Juju, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Most hotels, do they have a number 13 on the 13th floor or not? Tony, do you have OLIs? What are these? Just NFL observations?
Well, we got every week, Dan, on my top 5 observations from the week, and usually we do have some OLI. I've got 2 OLIs for this week. A lot of football played, and I had a lot of observations for football being played. So you want to start in the OLI. Atlanta, going to surprise a lot of people this year. Defense playing tough. Offense looking good. Bijan Robinson looking good. I like what Atlanta's doing, Dano. What do you think about Atlanta?
Offense doesn't look that great to me, and I believe that what happened in Minnesota is Minnesota's got a quarterback problem, and I don't believe that was because Atlanta's offense looks that good, but we'll see.
That's why that's the OLI. Just a little appetizer to get the conversation going.
And Tony, Falcons Twitter hates
here's
Zach
OLI
Robinson.
number 2.
Zach Robinson is getting so much crap online. They hate that offense right now.
Second OLI, is it too early to call Brandon Aubrey the best kicker of all time?
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show, Juju. Is it too early to call Brandon Aubrey the best kicker of all time?
But it's Justin Tucker, clearly.
We talked about Justin Tucker earlier.
Oh, wow.
Is anyone going to be desperate enough to sign him? And we failed to mention he's suspended the first 10 games of the season. However, week 11, people start getting desperate.
How long does Brandon Aubrey have to keep this up to be the best kicker of all time?
Couple years?
10 more years, I think.
Yeah,
10 more years.
More than just a few games.
65
At least a few more games.
10 years and 10 years of making everything. And then falling off for his last season, and he can be in that conversation. I'm not going to do this where we forget how incredible Justin Tucker was.
Or Sebastian Janikowski.
Seabass.
Smoking a cigarette on the sidelines. I love that. All right, starting off at number 5, Mike, stand up. Cam Ward showing flashes. There's something there with Cam Ward. And I don't love the 37-yard throw across his body. Yeah, number 1 pick. I don't love the 37-yard throw across his body from the 6-yard line, which is a terrible throw, somehow or another, across his body, away from kind of like a fadeaway throw, and he still gets it there. There's flashes there, Dano.
You're not allowed to claim you're seeing things other people don't see when it's a number 1 overall pick.
Could be something there.
But again, there's been a lot of number 1 picks as of recent that haven't been good. You called number 1 picks ass.
You can't do
last segment. Did you forget that?
I'm not going to let you do this. You're not allowed to take credit for thinking
you
Cam
called
Ward
Trevor
might
Lawrence
be good.
Ass.
Yeah, he's ass.
No, I didn't say Cam Ward might be good. Okay. All right. Okay. Fine. Number 4. Panic meter at 5 right now for Chicago. My internal panic meter's at 5. I'm not ready to go 7 or 8. It goes up to 10. So right now I'm like halfway a little worried about what's going on in Chicago. I don't know if Caleb Williams is the answer, guys. I'm a little worried about it, if you want me to be honest. The body language isn't great. There's plays that he makes that are just like, what are you doing? Kind of like the Trevor Lawrence situation. It's like you always try to find a way to lose the game somehow. Caleb Williams, even though he makes great plays, makes some really stupid plays. I'm just like, I'm a little bit worried about the situation over there. Dan, what's your panic meter at for Chicago?
Oh, this is good. I want to know this.
Out of 10, Dan.
8?
Wow.
Yeah, out of 10.
Whoa.
Oof.
Wow. Over 2 games, you're at an 8 already?
I mean, it's not 2 games. It's 2 seasons. It's not 2 games.
I made Tony go.
It's 2 seasons, and if they wanted Caleb Williams to be the solution, they need to not allow 50 points against the Lions.
Good point. But it's only 2 games in of Ben Johnson, right? I feel like I almost trust Ben Johnson more than I do Caleb Williams trying to get things back on track. He made Jared Goff a $200 million quarterback. So that's why I have it at a 5 right now, because Ben Johnson, I still trust him enough to maybe dial things in for Caleb Williams. All right, number 3. A lot of questions here on the Tony's Top 5. Number 3, is it time to have a conversation about Joe Burrow? Time to have a conversation about Joe Burrow.
He gets hit a lot more. He gets hit a lot more than any other quarterback. It made Andrew Luck retire. Andrew Luck was retired Andrew Luck was sacked 50 times fewer during this portion of their careers than Joe Burrow. He's getting hit way too much.
Out of 6 seasons, 3 of them could be potentially season-ending with injuries. So 50% clip of being healthy. is not good. I feel like there's a conversation that needs to be had. I don't know if I'm the one to have it. I just feel like somebody maybe needs to have it. So just wanted to put that out there for others.
Thank you.
All right, number 2. Yeah, just food for thought. That's what I do here, food for thought. Something going on in L.A. Rams and Chargers are tough. Dan, you said it. Rams are built Ram tough, but the Chargers also seem to be kicking ass. The 2 L.A. teams that nobody in L.A. cares about. Dan, you spent a lot of time in L.A. You were on the beat for the Chargers a couple years ago, I remember. You were talking to Sedano, I think. What is the vibe right now in L.A. where all of a sudden your teams are good? Dan, your second home in L.A. What do you think?
Zaslow says that Jim Harbaugh is an all-time great as a coach.
Yeah, it's true. Why would I not say something true?
Their defense, no one can throw downfield on them through 2 games. Like, you have to dump because their corners and their secondary is too good.
And what about the Rams? Ram tough.
The Rams are going to be that for as long as Stafford's there. I'm going, look, man, Stafford in the playoffs is the guy who beat Brady. Stafford is the one who made the throw to Cup to beat. No one. Mahomes couldn't beat Brady at home. Rodgers couldn't beat Brady at home. But Stafford went on the road. Went to Brady and beat Brady.
The grizzled vet, Matthew Stafford. So yeah, LA is going to be a tough out for a lot of teams. What if we have? Ooh, this is devious. What if we have the first LA Super Bowl? Chargers on one side, Rams on the other side, and nobody in LA gives a shit. Wow.
Can't wait to hear Matthew talk about that.
Can you imagine? Yeah, well, you heard it here first in week 2. LA Super Bowl. All right, getting back to number 1. It was a joke at first, but after 10 scoring drives with 0 punts and a 2-0 record beating a tough Broncos team, guys, Danny Dimes putting in position for an MVP run. I don't know what to tell you guys. All I'm saying is he's playing the best football of his entire life. Shane Steichen and them boys playing some tough football. Danny Dimes right now, if you look at certain books, plus 7,500 to be the MVP. Put a couple quid on that. I've already got some locked in. I'm very excited for the Danny Dimes train. Dan, how long do you have to see it for it to be real? 2 games not enough, of course. What's the week where you're like, all right, it's for real? 10, 11, 12?
I'm going to stop you real quick because I don't think anybody would be saying this right now if a Bronco hadn't jumped off sides at the end of that game and the Colts were just 1-1.
Okay. Okay, well, sure. But that's not the point we're at, right?
No.
It's the point he's at 2-0. He hasn't punted yet.
Right. I will not believe Daniel Jones is an MVP until 7 or 8 seasons after he's won the MVP. Tony, thank you for being thank you for joining us from a space of freedom. We appreciate it.
Tony's Top 5 is presented by Smirnoff, the official vodka sponsor of the National Football League. Smirnoff, please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Vodka, 40% alcohol by volume. What's up?
Today is the 30th birthday for...
I'm not pushing it.
I'll push it. I got it. But I'm just laughing at your
What's
reading.
up?
I'm just laughing at your reading in general. But
he stumbled over a word.
I wish you guys could have like the director's cut of Chris
I
Cody
see
cursing.
you shouting F-bombs when you read. Today is the 30th birthday for Patrick Mahomes.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
I should also mention that he has the most TD passes, wins, playoff wins, and is tied for the most Super Bowl wins before turning 30. And
it's a good career before it ended this season.
Pretty impressive. I don't think he's going to age like Brady, though.
Is he a Hall of Famer already?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You guys are doing a funny thing, though, because when Patrick Mahomes lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and it was obvious, oh, look, his offensive linemen, they're all out. And now he's got to run loop-de-loops in circles because they're going to get crushed because he doesn't have all of his players. That was something that Patrick Mahomes rightly shouldn't have been blamed for that game. What Patrick Mahomes is enduring right now is very nice, Mike, that you all defend him when he's responsible for all the winning, but isn't responsible for any of the losing, that's a good position to be in.
That's right, and he's earned it. I'm sorry, why are we doing this? Like, if there's one dude that's deserved, like, hey, hold on, let's not write this dude off. And I know maybe you were feeling a little cocky because you were so right about writing off Tom Brady 7 years before he retired. But Patrick Mahomes deserves
how about you not do the absolutism? I'm not writing him off. I'm simply saying that what they were at offense, the pleasure they were, bringing us out of the Brock Osweiler age of everyone's throwing 5-yard slants and outs, and that's how we're doing it. The whole league is plagued by it right now. Every quarterback in the league is afraid to throw the ball downfield. I just watched a Monday night game where Geno Smith was more incompetent down the field than a quarterback has ever been. He had a dozen throws down the field, more than 10 yards. 2 of them were intercepted. All of the others were incomplete.
That doesn't mean he was afraid to throw it down the field.
I'm not saying Mahomes is afraid to throw it down the field. I'm just saying he's not throwing it down the field. He did it twice in the last game. Missed the receiver, a nobody receiver, obviously a nobody receiver. Missed him down the field by 10 yards. I know he wants to do it, but what I'm saying is there are limitations that are keeping him from being able to do it.
And I agree. And the limitations are his 2 receivers being out. Rashee Rice has basically been out 2 seasons at this point.
It's a weird way to celebrate his birthday.
It is weird.
And happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.